Rabbi said we're up to Yerushalmi Pesachim. We are Samach Vav Amud Aleph. We are in the 7th parak. Now we learned in the Mishnah at the entrance of the Azara, Yerushalayim, and the houses they can eat the Korban Pesach. From the Agaf and the inside, it's called inside. Agaf is probably the sort of porch area of the gates, and the area outside is considered outside. Now, what about the Agaf itself? So this seems to be maybe the opening entrance, as it were, in the entrances of Yerushalayim. What is that din? It's the area of the doorway, which is the thickness of the wall when it's closed. Yeah, so it's from the edge of the door inwards and within the town. Gaf lachutz is the outer edge of the doorway. So it's really the thickness of the wall. Sorry. Right. The thickness of the wall, that's what we're talking about. So Rav Shem Rav Yehuda, like in Shetachas Argof, they did not make it holy under this entrance here, area, Yerushalmi, which is the area under the thickness of the doorway, as we said, that area, the thickness of the door. Rav Yerushalmi Masechet he says the reason why they didn't make that area holy, so the Mitzrayim, people with Tzaras who can't come into Yerushalayim, they can shelter under these gates, B'achama in the sun because of the heat, B'achama v'gsham in the sun and the rain, so B'achama v'gsham with the rain. Similarly, like they did not also make it holy under the porch area, the door area of the gate, shel Harabais, as the Kedusha of Harabais. So they didn't treat that as Harabais area. So that the Zavin, the people with Zav who are not allowed to go into Harabais from the beginning Tachten, they can stay there. Again in the sun and the rain. Now, Mitzrayim hasn't got anywhere to go. He has to stay outside Yerushalayim. Now, if he's forbidden to stand in the doorway, he'll be have to be outside the city without any refuge. Whereas Zav, now Zav can go anywhere else but Yerushalayim. He's only also in Harabais. And even if they don't make it holy, he can find shelter the rest of the town. There's no reason to leave an area of closing the door in Harabais without making it holy. The Gemara concludes the Ma'aser the halachas like B'shua Rav Yitzchak, despite the fact that he pushes away Tzvara. Rav Yechon Bar Maria B'Shem Rav Pinchas Mimanda Anan Chamei, because we see Rabbanon that when they're going to Harabais Shalchin Sandaleh, they would take off their shoes and leave them Tachas Argof under through this doorway, the thickness of the door Shal Harabais, because you can't go into the Harabais wearing shoes. This tells me they did not make it holy, the area of the thickness of the door Shal Harabais. Had they done so, they would have to take their shoes out outside. But the fact they leave their shoes there means that the halacha is that is not holy. Rav Shal, Reb Chia Rabba, he asked, what about the roofs of Yerushalayim? The roofs of the towns, do they have the Kedusha of Yerushalayim or not? Amalei says, they say a parable, Pischa Bezesa, because all the people in the group, you'd hardly get even a kazayas of meat on Korban Pesach. And the noise of all the people saying the Hallel, they would break the roofs. This tells me Gagos Yerushalayim Kodesh, it was holy. You could eat Kashim Kalim there like Korban Pesach, which can only be eaten in Yerushalayim. Because Mashra, this parable, they said Hallel on the roof. So probably that's where they ate. Rav Yirmiyah, Rav Yashav, Shmuel, Bar Yitzchak, B'Shem Rav Gagos Yerushalayim Chol. He says no, they're not holy. But now we've learned now wait a minute. You're telling me the roof is not holy, but the doorway of the entrance is holy. How does that work? It's mashma that you're within the doorway. It's you're in. So definitely the roof should definitely be in. Pastor they explained it. The gag masnisa. Now we're talking about a roof surrounded by a courtyard. So a house is built in the ground. The roof is level to a courtyard around it, or the house is built on a slant, and the roof is equal to the courtyard roof floor, which is next to it on the slant. Now this might be holy because it's level to the ground in one respect, but maybe a roof which is higher than ground maybe does not have kedusha. But we've learned the windows and the thickness of the wall is like inside. Now that is like the top of the wall. That's the roof. And if that has got Kadosh Kedusha Yerushalayim, then the roofs of the houses should be the same thing. So he says, no. It's also a roof of a wall surrounded by the air or airspace of a courtyard. the wall is lower, level to the ground. It says the pasuk in Eicha, Vayavel chel v'chayma. He made it like a chel v'chayma. Shura is like a high wall, v'ashura, and a low wall. The Azara had two walls, an outer one which was taller, an inner one which was smaller, which was level to the ground. And the same thing with Yerushalayim. There was an outer one higher, and within it a lower one which was level to the ground of the city. On this lower one, the Mishnah says the thickness, like its roof, was Kadosh Kedusha, say it had Kedusha, it was level to the ground. Kidshu, that wait a minute, if the thickness of the wall, like the top of the wall, is holy, although it's not in the ground, it's on top of it, definitely the windows which are inside the wall. So why does Mishnah have to tell me the din of windows? We're talking about a window on top of the door of the gates. That's what is needed. So on top of the gates, you have some sort of platform of something and a window on top. So although it says like they perhaps didn't make it holy under the door, the thickness of the door, but the window on top of the door was holy. Since they were maybe they're closing the doors is one thing, but they left it to be mekadesh. Anything on that area, the windows therefore might be included in that area which is holy. So the Mishnah tells you it's not the case. Don't think they left it out, but actually that window was also holy. The various tunnels under the heichal, they are not holy. Gagos ha'heichal, the roof of the heichal is kodesh. Rabbi Mishem Shlakish, Masnisa Amrakain, there's a Mishnah which says this. It says, Madura Haisasham, remember they had a sort of fire where the people in the middle of the night, they could warm themselves up a bit after going in the mikveh. Beis Kiseh Shel Kavod, there was a bathroom. Zehaya Kavod is the way to know whether you could use the bathroom. Ma'al say no, if it was locked, Yideh Sheyesh Adam, there was someone there. Pasach, if it was open, Yideh She'ein Sham Adam, then you know there's no one there. So that way, that was the kavod of the people using it. So you see these tunnels were not holy, because if they were holy, they wouldn't make a basic kiseh there. Now, is excrement, is it tumah? Is that isur to be a bathroom in a holy place with a space of mikdash? There's no tumah there. It's a matter of cleanliness. And we bring another proof. So which Mishnah tells you the tunnels are not holy? Where do you get this in? Because the Mishnah says, what about a Kohen who has an emission at night? When he goes to sleep in the Beis HaMoiked, and that's where he's sleeping. Yotze, he goes out, but as he goes in a tunnel which goes under the bira, there's candles burning either side, we can't find the way. He goes to the mikveh. Now, if it's holy, why is he allowed to reach that place, which is a long way to get there? Should go the shorter way. So it must be that the tunnels were not holy. Incidentally, by the way, there's a machlokes Bavli Yerushalmi about the Ezras Noshim. Did it have the same kedusha as the Azara or not? From memory, the Yerushalmi holds the Ezras Noshim did have the same kedusha as the Ezras Azara of the Israel. Okay. Two groups are eating Korban Pesach in one house. This group turn their face this way and eat. They can face that way and eat. They can face the other way and eat. Now it looks like two groups. They don't have to face each other. The Pesach can be eaten even in two groups, right? But Hamecham and the urn, the hot water, they can put it in the middle, even though it's like a gap between them, because Shamash, now when the servant there, I made, he stands from one group, who started with, Limzog to pour wine for the other group. Kofet says piv, he closes his mouth, and Mach says Panav, he turns his face, until he reaches back again to his group. And he eats with them. But Hakala, the bride, who's embarrassed to eat in front of everyone, because everyone's looking at her, as she can turn her face and eat. Because since the Korban Pesach can be eaten by those that were appointed, and they're divided into two groups. So let's see. Now, you're not allowed to take the meat of Korban Pesach from one group to another group. You can't take it outside. I understand chutz labais. You can't take it outside. How do you know you can't take it even? You don't take it to another house, but to another group. So the word chutz is extra. You can't take it from the group, even if it stays in the house. Our review then, Rakad, from who we learned, Shim Haitzi, Mechutz Lachabura, if you took it, the meat of Korban Pesach outside the group, Shum is Chayav, you get lashes. Oh, Ramona said, but if you get lashes, Yom HaKroi, the Torah should say, Lo Toitzi Chutza, don't take it outside, without the word Minabais. Manan we'll say ourselves, if taking outside the group, who will Chayav, you get lashes for that, like Koshkin, how much more Chutz Labais, outside the house. Why do you have to clearly say outside the house? Rav Imi boy, he said, if you took it one group to another, b'shnei batim in two houses, chayav shtay. Are you chayav two? You took it outside, took it from the house. So he wants to say, he asked, surely the Torah had to tell you min abayis as well as chutzah to tell you that you are chayav twice. If you take it from the house to another group. Nimnu ala Pesach, a group get together for Korban Pesach, right? They're going to eat in a certain place. And then, Haitzi Echad Kazais, one guy went and took a Kazais from the group, Chayav gets lashes. You're not allowed to take it out to the group. Shnayim or Shloisha, 2 or 3 going out, Peturin, they don't get lashes. Because their group, they are a crowd, right? So the other groups can join them. People follow the masses. So taking the meat through them to elsewhere is not taking it from the group. It's as if the group has moved. You hear that? As if the group has moved to a new place. Ela she'ein over in Basei. They do transgress a positive command that you should eat in one place and not in two places. Rav Shimon, he holds you're allowed to eat Korban Pesach in two places. I feel about saying over. They're not over about saying. Let's leave. We'll let it arise. The house that you're going to eat, it can be eaten in two groups. Each one will eat in a separate place. It doesn't mean each one of the eaters can eat it in two places. No. Okay, so how do you understand the contradiction? On the one hand, it's mashma, you can eat it in different houses. But it says, no, you have to eat in one house. Pesach, the Korban Pesach can be eaten in two places through two groups. Right? And each one's going to eat in a different place. And that's why it says, each person, if you start eating in one place, you can't go and eat it in another place. No, you can eat in two places. What does he do with the pasuk? It's mashma only one house. Once they started eating one group in one place, then you can't start dividing up. Each one will eat elsewhere. You follow that? Once you start eating in one place, then everyone has to eat in that one place. So according to the Tanakama, there's a positive command on each one of the eating Korban Pesach to eat it in one place. According to Rav Shimon, there's no such mitzvah. 2 or 3 who took out a bit from the meat from the group, ate it elsewhere. The over on the mitzvah to eat it in one place, only according to the Tanakama, but not according to Rav Shimon. Now, 2 or 3 that took the meat from one group, they're not over allowed not to take it from the group because the other group will join them. It's if the group has moved. But an individual who took the meat, he's over because the masses are not going to follow the individual. If an individual takes a gazais beyond the group, if people are going to follow him because he's like the head, maybe, like Adam Chashuv, then he won't get loisaseh taking the meat. There's like 2 or 3 then. But since they're going to follow him, then his new place is like the whole group, and therefore it's not a problem. Now you're telling me, according to Shimon, you're not over our saying. I feel like Rabbanan, even going to Rabbanan, the people in the group might follow you. You should be part of from the loisaseh on taking it from the group. And for the same reason, I feel about say, even Ba'asei to eat it in one place, they shouldn't be over. Basically, since the other group might follow them, then it's not considered a new place. It's considered the place of the first group. You hear that? So why are you saying only according to Rav Shimon you're not over? I say he says even according to Rabbanan, people might follow and you shouldn't be over. And the Gemara is a very good question, but it does not have an answer. He says when we said 2 or 3 who take it their potter, but they're over a lav, that even they've gone elsewhere in the same room. Now, since they're not over an alav of not taking the meat from the group, because the rest of the group can follow them, then they shouldn't be over on Naseh to eat it in another place, because they're one group. The whole room should be like one for them. They've not gone to a new place. They're just in the same place as they were before. Okay. Let's carry on. Shama sha'acha kazais u'b'talatano. So you've got a shamas, the servant. He's next to the oven. He's roasting the Korban Pesach. He was included in the group, and he forgot that he won't be able to eat with the other people if he eats with the oven. If he eats next to the oven, he can't eat with everyone else. So he ate a kazais when he's standing next to the oven. If he was clever, he should eat whatever he can next to the oven, because he's going to serve everyone. He won't be able to eat in their place. If the rest want to give him respect, they all come to the oven and eat with him. If they don't want to give him respect, they say, here you are. And he eats in his place and he won't eat in their place. In Babel they said, that the Brisa is Reb Yehuda. That what? That the Tanakama, the Brisa, who argues with Rav Shimon, they held the view of Rav Shimon is the opposite to Reb Yehuda. That's what Amari Babel held. But the view of Rav Shimon is opposite to Reb Yehuda. Reb Yehuda allows you to eat Korban Pesach in two groups, but you can't eat it in two places. Rav Shimon asks you to eat in two groups, but allows you to eat in two places. So it's the opposite of what we said in Rav Shimon. Yeah, it's a totally different view. Now, based on this, the Brisa is Reb Yehuda. Because first of all, it says the rest of the group don't have to eat with the waiter next to the oven. They can eat in their place, and the Korban Pesach ends up being eaten in two places. And that's like Reb Yehuda, who allows you to eat the Korban Pesach in two places. According to Rav Shimon, it'll be forbidden. And according to him, they'll have to eat together with the shamas in one group. And secondly, it says the shamas can't eat elsewhere after he ate next to the oven, because you can't eat in two places. That is like Reb Yehuda, according to the Chachmei Baba. Because according to Rav Shimon, you're allowed to eat in two places. But Lo Shemin, but the Amari Babel did not hear to Amar Rav Hillel what he said when Risi Bivlas B'Shem Rav Oshia. Everyone agrees. Look, before they start eating, they can divide into as many groups as they like, and they all agree. Basoif, once they've started eating, then it's too late. They can't divide to eat in two places. So here you ask, what's the argument then? They're sitting at home and they're eating. The roof falls on their heads and they have to leave the house. Rav Shimon says, they leave their place and they eat elsewhere. They're allowed to eat the Korban Pesach in two places. They're not over to divide into two groups after they start eating, because they're not divided. They're all going to eat in a new place. But they said they're not allowed to. According to them, you can't eat in two places. So the Brisa might hold, even like Rav Shimon, it says the rest of the group don't have to eat with a waiter. I mean, yeah, he agrees from the beginning, before they start eating, they can do what they want, go anywhere. When it says the waiter can't go elsewhere to eat with other people, that's also right. He allows you to eat. He allows him, let's say, to eat in two places, but not to go from one group to another group. Because the Torah said you can't divide into two groups once you start eating in one group. And if you're going to go and eat with other people in their place, once you've already eaten next to the oven, then you're moving from group to group. Now, one of the group who took meat from one group is Chayav Malkus. 2 or 3 is not Chayav, because we say that people will follow them. If you want to say that 2 you're not Chayav Malkus, even if one is Hamoitzi, in the video, Me'ata, Hamoitzi, even the one who takes it from his place, shouldn't get lashes, until he eats the meat that he took out. If he's not eating it, people can join in with him, and it turns out that he wasn't an individual who took it out, because the others are coming, 2 or 3, and they're not over 2 or 3. So basically, even though he's taken it out, who says he'll be on his own? Someone else might join him. And we say when 2 people go out, the group might follow. So what are we going to do? There's going to be a suffix. Maybe he never did an Aveira, so you can't give him lashes. Also, Shul Ravav Shem Rav Yochanan, Hamoitzi, the one who takes it out, Einach Hamad Shoshi Yochal. You don't have to eat. Arazayr, Tali Taman, we've learned, Yachid Shahitzi Gezayis Chutz Lechabura, Chayev. An individual who takes a Gezayis, Chutz Lechabura, like away out of the group, he is liable. Like Pasalas Minech Chaburasa. He's not parceled himself, he can carry on eating with them. Yeah, so he took meat beyond the group, he gets lashes, and he's not parceled himself yet. He can carry on eating with his group. Hadar Amra, this tells me, Afidu Lo Achal, even if he didn't eat the meat that he took out, yeah, in Tema Achal, yeah, so even though he didn't eat. Now in Tema Achal, what do you mean? If he ate, Lama Lo Pasalas Minecha Barasai. Why is he not parceled himself? If he ate a gazais in the second place, he can't eat with the first group. It must be lashes, even if you didn't eat the meat. And on this, the Brisa says he gets lashes and he's not parceled from eating with the others. But since he didn't eat in the second place, nothing's stopping him going back to the group. You hear that? So he wants to say, even if he didn't eat, yeah, even if he didn't eat, he still gets lashes. Yeah, if you're telling me he ate, then why has he not parceled himself? How can he go back to the group? Must be he didn't eat, and he gets lashes. Rav Yosa, it could be no. You don't get lashes on just taking it out until you eat it, and you ate from the meat where you took it out, but you're still allowed to go back. The minute you take the meat out, you parceled that meat, taking it to the wrong area. Afidu achal. And let's say you ate it, it's double parcel that you ate. You're therefore not parceled from going back to your group. You hear that? You took it out and you parceled it. So when you ate it, it was parcel. It wasn't Korban Pesach that you ate. That's why you're allowed to go back to the first group. Where does the Torah say this? That when the Pesach goes out of the group, it becomes parcel. And the following brisa, yes, sheva achas sheva. If, let's say, you broke a bone once, and then it broke again, you're breaking the Korban Pesach bone, yeah? It breaks again, you get lashes on the second one, apart from the lashes on the first. But ein moitzi acha moitzi. If you take the meat out of the group once, and then you take it out again, you don't get lashes the second time, only the first time. Hadar, this tells me, Kiven trade CI. Since you took out the Korban Pesach Pasala, you've puzzled it, so you're not chayav on taking it out another time. Well, then the Gemara says, no, it could be the hamoitzi, when you take out meat from the group, you don't get lashes until you actually eat the meat. And maybe that's why you're not chayav on another hatzah after hatzah, even though it's not possible. Because if you didn't eat it after the first time, you put it back, you take it out again, and then you eat it, maybe you're chayav on the second carrying, and not on the first, because maybe the second time you went it and you ate it, right? You took it out and you ate it. If you ate it after the first time, maybe it can't be that you'll be chayav on taking it out a second time. Now, one thing we have learned, if all those who are in the Korban Pesach are tamei, even after Zrika Saddam, they become tamei, let's say, after the sprinkling, it gets burnt, because tamei people can't eat it. So we're talking about a case where some were tamei, some of the people in this group. Now, Pshita Dom Milson, one thing's clear. Hischilu Elu. Some of the group start eating. V'nitzmu Elu. And other people in the group who've not eaten yet become tamei. Zacha tahirin v'chalka shel tamei. The tahir ones can eat the share of the tamei ones. The tamei ones are included in this carbon. They were tahir before. So they've fulfilled their duty, but now they're tamei, they can't eat it. So the tahir ones can eat their share. Beloved, and afilu hischilu elu. Some of the groups start eating their share. V'nitzmu hein. And those who started eating become tamei before they finish eating. And you have other tahor ones there who have not yet started eating. The tahor ones get the share of the tamei ones. If they both started eating, and one is tamei, then the tahor ones don't get the share of the tamei ones. So let's use again. So if the tahirin, if it's chilu elu elu, so everyone starts eating, and then one guy becomes tamei, then no, they don't get his share. Yeah. So what do we say? If these start eating, and then those become tamei, they get their share. And if, let's say, groups start getting their share, then they become tamei, who start eating. Then there's the Torah ones who not yet started eating, managed to get the tamei share. But his chilu elu ve'elu. So if everyone starts eating and then one is tamei, they don't get his share. Yachid, an individual who's on his own on a Korban Pesach, mashit yadai, b'chol habayis. He can decide to stretch his hand to eat in the whole house. He can go anywhere in the house. Ve'en chabura, but a group who've got an area to eat in the house, they can't mashit as yadai b'chol habayis. They can't go everywhere in the house. Ba'atanina, we've learned in our Mishnah, shtei chaburais, two groups eating in one house, they can turn to that way, they face that way. It says two groups can face different angles. Ha'achas, but it sounds like if it's one group, they can't face away from each other. It looks like they're dividing into different groups. So they shouldn't spread out in the whole house, because it looks like they're dividing themselves. But Tanina, the Gemara actually asks, we learned Hamecha, wait a minute, the urn is there by himself between the groups, and the waiter's there pouring the wine. He sort of closes his mouth, faces the other way till he reaches his group. So you see, one of the group can go to an area, to, somewhere else in the house. So he says, Markoim, Shashamash Mechiach Alav. Look, the area, it still belongs to him. He can face there, Everyone knows, everyone knows which group is his group. This waiter, we know where his group is. Now the bride can also turn away her face and eat. Now if you're worried about people scattering around, looks like they're dividing into groups, we should worry the bride. She's turning her face. It's as if she's breaking apart from her group. And we see we don't worry about it. The reason why the bride does that, because of embarrassment. That what? She's not seen as if, dividing from a group. Everyone knows that she doesn't turn her face from them. It's only because of embarrassment. She's not creating a new group. What?
So
she's allowed to. She's only embarrassment. She's not creating a whole new group. But if other people just scatter in the house all over the place, it looks like they're dividing into new groups. I don't know. Okay. Perik Shmini Alach Aleph. Ha'isha. Bizman Shiva Beis Ba'ala. When she is with her husband, she got married. She's in her husband's house. Shachad ala aviyah, shachad ala bala. The father and the husband slaughtered Korban Pesach for her. Who will she go to? Taychal shal bala. She'll go to the husband because she wants to be included on Korban Pesach of the husband. Halcha regal rishon. Now, the first festival after the marriage, last is bebeis aviyah. They're doing the chag in her father's house, and usually, the first festival after marriage, shachat ala aviyah, the shachat ala bala. The husband slaughtered for her, and the father slaughtered for her. Teichal b'makom shehi writes there. She can eat where she wants. Yasem sheshachtu alav apotropin, an orphan that the managers, he had two managers, each manager slaughtered for him. Yachal b'makom shehi writes can eat from where he wants. Ever sheshnei shutvin, a servant of two shutvin, lo yachal mishal shneim, shouldn't eat on either of them. None of them had reshus to include him in Korban Pesach if they only own half the eved. Someone who's chetzia eved v'chetzia ben chayrin, lo yachal shal rabbi. He should not eat his master's Korban Pesach because the master did not include him the free part of the eved. Yeah, the master didn't include the free part of the eved. All right. Even if the servant wants to eat from the Korban Pesach of the master, he doesn't eat with him. Okay. Ha'isha, bizman she beis bala, when she's in her husband's house, and the father also slaughtered for her. So there is a Gemara in Saita about korbanos that you can bring for your friend without his reshus. So let's see. Four people who are tamei, where they need to bring their korbanos. Other people can bring them mafrishin alen chos midatam without telling them. Ve'elohein zav and zava and yoledes and mitzayra. Shekain adam mafrish, a person can bring korbanos of ziva and saras al b'nei cotton for his young child who will nasan barisa, even as a baby in a cot. So although a child has got no das, so you can be mafrish these korbanos from a chosre kapara without telling them. Now nicha zav zav and mitzayra. I understand zav zav and mitzayra. We find you can be makri for your children. Ziva Tzaras applies to children. Yeledes, a woman in childbirth, Yesh Ketana Yeledes, can a girl who's still a child, can she have a baby? How can she be? Like because it's one of the signs of adulthood, right? Having a child. Like in our Rebbe, didn't Rebbe say Redifa b'shem Rav Yoina b'shem Ruchana? If Rabbi Yalda, if she conceived and she gave birth after Levi before signs of purity, right? She's still a katana, then she won't live and the children won't live. He would not base it. If she was, let's say, conceived and gave birth then if everything was after puberty, she can live, the child will live. If she conceived before puberty and gave birth after puberty, she will live and the child will die. So it can't be the child to give birth and live. So we don't find bringing karbonas or yeledes for a katana. So what's the source of Yochanan? The carbon of yeledes doesn't need das, because it can't apply to a child. My kadun, what's the right about yeledes? Shekenat mafish albitai chareshes. You can bring a carbon for your daughter who is deaf mute, who's got no das, and the father can be mafresh without her das. So you see, you can bring a carbon for yeledes without her das. Now, kiven shisia. Now, wait a minute. You can bring for your daughter, yes. But is it the father who's bringing for Yeledes? I mean, Yeledes, she's married. Given she's Sia, you married her off. She's not Yerushus anymore. Like he says, no, a person can bring for his wife who's a deaf mute. Now, we bring still more of the Sugi and Saita. Can you bring a common Saita for your wife without telling her? Right? So now, you can bring carbonas without their das, because you can bring it as someone who's got no das. Now, lesaita. What are you going to be about a saita? Katana, einat yachal. You can't find a saita who's a katana. Da'ara zaira b'Yosef Shem Rav Yochanan. Katana shezinas ein la ratzain. She has no das. She has no willingness to do a very le'asah about to be forbidden her husband. She's like a rape victim. She's not forbidden on her husband. Chareshes einat yachal. You can't find Chareshes becoming a saita, a deaf mute becoming a saita. The Chsiv says, "Amen, she has to speak." So dinner saita only with a woman who can speak, but not a woman who can't speak. So if we don't find you bring common saita for katana or chareshes, there's no source that you can bring common saita for a woman without her das. Rav and Shani, so saita is different. We don't find you can bring for katana or chareshes, but the husband can bring without her knowledge, because the husband can bring for his wife any carbon he needs to allow her to eat zvachim, to eat carbonas, right? Without that, should be forbidden to her husband. He can't eat shalmei simcha, right? Shalmei or simcha and yom tov with her. He has to eat on his own. And shalmei simcha, it says you eat with your wife. So he wants to bring these carbonas to allow him to eat with his wife. Rav Yerushalmi Adam kaveh chaverai. A person can be chayev to pay for his friend carbon nazir. You can decide to bring carbon nazir. You can't separate it. You need the guy's not willingness. It could be the friend doesn't want to use it. You can make yourself liable to bring a chatas chaylev, a normal chatas without your friend knowing about it. Again, you need your friend to set it aside. A person can shaft a carbon pesach for his friend without telling him. But if it's not been separated, again, you can't separate it for your friend unless you have his knowledge. Okay, the Mishnah says this, that you don't bring carbon pesach for your friend without his knowledge, because the Mishnah says, you can't be mafresh it, because the Mishnah says, when she's in her husband's house, the father shafted for her, and the husband, she don't eat from the husband's, not from the father, because he has mafresh it without her knowledge. You can't bring mafresh carbon pesach to someone without his knowledge. But the husband shall eat, because normally she wants to eat from the husband, right? It's as if she sort of sorted out this carbon, was mafresh the carbon. Now, manan kayamin, what are we talking about here? If the friend is objecting on the separation, on the hafrosha, and Rabbi says you can't be mafresh your friend without his knowledge, but then this is like our Mishnah, stam isha. Now, a normal woman is if she's like objecting, saying Eitzel Bali, and look, I want my husband's, I don't want my father's. She wants to eat more with her husband. And he was talking about a case even where the person's not objecting, and Rabbi Lazar still says you can't be mafresh your friend without telling him, there's no right from our Mishnah. Because Masnisa Mamachin, our Mishnah is talking about a case where the woman is objecting. It could be because of that Afresh of the father doesn't help. But if you're mafresh for your friend and the friend doesn't object, it could be that Afresh works. In case of our Mishnah, it's as if like the woman is objecting. Now, any carbon you can bring for your children, you can be mafresh it for your friend without his knowledge. Surely this argues on Rabbi Lazar. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it comes out you can bring a carbon pesach of your friend without his rotzen, without his das, right? Just like you bring for your children. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Lazar says, yeah, you can shach for your friend without telling him. You can't separate it without telling him. He says, Shani Pesach, Shani Chatas. Korbanos are different. Pesach is different to other korbanos. Pesach, you want to bring a Pesach for a child. When the child grows up, he can use it. So one second, next question. Now, look, when this child grows up, can he use the Pesach now? You're separating now? You can't do that. Because each year there's a chiyuv to bring a new Korban Pesach. So you bring it for a child is not going to help when he's going to be older. So don't rely on the fact you can bring Korban Pesach for a child or you can bring Korban Pesach for an adult without his knowledge. Whereas Chatos, some of Chosek Kapara, the Kishetagdel, Ein Araylis Kaparalav, is fitting when he grows up as well. The Korbanos brought for a child, Chosek Kapara, to make his Taurus will help. The end result will carry on even after he grows up. So the fact that you're bringing Korbanos, which are Chosek Kapara, for someone, let's say for a child, there's a source from here that you can be makriv Korbanos even for a gadol Shalom Darsai. Okay, now we said in our Mishnah, the wife, after she gets married, the first festival she would go to the father's house. Oh, right, the first festival she would go to the father's house. Now the Mishnah Ksuba says, if a person forbids his wife to go to the father's house for 2 festivals, we force him to divorce and give a ksuba. Because a woman can't stand without neder. Amr Yochanan, regel redufin shanu. This din was said on regel redufin. What does that mean? There's a regel redufin. The regel rishon, the first festival after marriage, a woman wants to go back home to her father's house to say she's been accepted nicely in her husband's house. And Avia right for so much so, the father, listen to this, he chases her out. He has to chase her out to the husband's house. Yeah? Whatever. So when he says Rego Rudufin, the husband has forbidden his wife. He's stopping her going to her father's house, even the first festival. And she wants to go to her father's house. So he should give her ksuba. Right? If he forbids her to go to the father's house, the first festival, the husband should give her ksuba. So this makar is that a woman, when they shecht for her, the father and the husband, the first festival after marriage, she can eat where she wants. The reason is, the first festival she goes to the father's house. But the father is chasing her out. You hear that? If she wants to eat in the father's house, the father says, get out and go to your husband. So it could be she wants to eat Korban Pesach with her father, or it could be she wants to eat with her husband. That's what he's saying, regular Rudufna. So it's like the first festival, the father is chasing her out. Now, if she didn't go to her father's house the first festival, after marriage, now what happens with the second festival? If she goes on the second festival to her father's house, and the father included her and the husband included her, is it like the first one, she can eat where she wants? Or do we say, no, the first festival's gone by, and she never went last time, so she doesn't want to go so much to her father's house. That's not regel redufin. So who says she can eat whatever she wants second time round? Now, if you're going to tell me she didn't go the first time, only the second time, and the second one becomes regel redufin, then we can ask if she didn't go even the second time. So third time now. Is it still she has a choice? Do we say the first festival she ends up going, he has his choice? Almana, a widow who was widowed close to her marriage, and she still lives in the husband's house. She goes to her father's house, and the father chefs for her, and her father-in-law chefs for her. Ma'asheila regel redufin. Is it a din like regel redufin? She can eat where she wants. Or do we say now she'll definitely want to eat the father's. She's not going to eat with the father-in-law. Right? Nishmina min hada. We learn from the following. She went first festival to the father, and the father shechted, and the husband shechted, eats what she wants. Now, if the first festival is Regel Redufin, then you shouldn't have to tell me if she went to the first festival. The first festival, even before she went, we assume she wants to go. It must be it's telling you one of the things we had a suffix. Maybe it's telling me the first festival where she goes to the father's house, even though it's not the first after their marriage, and that's why it says Halcha. The din regel redufin is said on the first festival where she ends up going, whether it's the first festival after marriage or not. Or maybe it tells me Almana yeshla regel redufin, that if she went to the father's house, she can eat where she wants. The Mishnah says Halcha was a widow. Who says she's going to go to the father's house? She might not go, unless she really went. It could be she can't be bothered going to her father's house anymore. She was accepted in her husband's house. The husband's dead. Who says, why should I bother going to my father's house? Maybe it's just saying a case of she went, because she may necessarily not go. Tivta. Let's explain the Mishnah. Widow, she's got children, no husband. So therefore you assume she might want to eat in the father-in-law's house, because that's where the children are. So a woman who's got children will object to say it's up on her, I want to be with the children. So the Mishnah says she should eat where she wants. But a widow who has no children, even if she goes to the father's house, surely she only wants to eat from the father's Kom Pesach and not their father-in-law. The Kom Pesach of women is up to them. It's a mitzvah bound by time. They're not obligated in it. And you can still break Shabbos for it. Just like you bring Kom Pesach of men, you want to say it's Rishus. Rabbi Yaakov Baracha v'shem Rabbi Elazar, Pesach shel Nashim shel Avadim Rishus. If women, the Kom Pesach Rishus, and Avadim is definitely Rishus Kol Shkein. If women is up to them, how much more so servants? For Doichen Olav Shabbos, you break Shabbos. Matzah Mahu. What about? Are they chayav to eat matzah? Rabbi Elazar Machayva, yes they are. Rabbi Zira Machlekas, he says it's Machlekas Tanoim if they're chayav to eat matzah. He holds women are chayav Kom Pesach, they're chayav matzah. Right, matzah some roim yachlu. The other Tanu patters them from Kom Pesach, patters them from matzah. Rabbi Hillel says divrei hakol, according to everyone, women have to eat matzah because eating matzah is compared to isur chametz. Since they can't eat chametz, they're chayav to eat matzah. Masnisam Saladin, Masnisam Saladin. We've got Bryce supporting both. Masnisam Saladin of Zira supports Reb Zira. Says Machlis Tanoim if women are chayav matzah. Achazeres, eating the moror and matzah and Pesach for Laila, vision first night. Chayav is an obligation. Shar Kali Yomim every other day of the festival. Rishus is no, you don't have to do it. Rishim and Omer, Rishim said, "Ba'anashim chayav, v'anashim rishus." Men have to eat all these things, and women are rishus. So the Machlis Tanoim, are women chayav in the mitzvah's matzah on the first night or not? Masnisa Messiah Reb Hila. We have a Bryce supporting Reb Hila. It says with Kom Pesach L'Teichel Alav Chametz. Don't eat chametz 7 days. Shuz Yavnei Chametz Nechamayni. And it says Issa eating chametz. Eshu be'aval Teichel Chametz. Anyone who's included in the Issa Ba'al Teichel Chametz Harei Bekum Echal Matzah. They are included in the Issa you must eat matzah. Whereas Nashim Ha'el V'hen, they are included by Ba'al Teichel Chametz Harei Hein Bekum Echal Matzah. Therefore, they're also included that they have to eat matzah as well. So according to this drasha, there's no machlokes. Even women are potter from Kom Pesach. They are definitely chayav in eating matzah. But Tanina, we've learned comments of Sechesman Gurama. If it's a time-bound mitzvah, Hanashim men are chayav. Hanashim b'tzorah, women are potter. Or Ramana Chaim mitzvah Sechesman B'amekach Loisase. The mitzvah of eating matzah is more severe than other positive commands because it's compared to the Loisase of not eating chametz. Now we bring a sugya which is learned in Maseches Chala, which talks about women's chiyuv for Pesach Sheni. Now in Chala it says Yosef HaKohen brought his wife to Yerushalayim to eat Kom Pesach, but the Chachamim stopped him. No, actually, we'll be stopping soon. Ma'asya Command Abba. I don't think there's anywhere to stop here. There's the 2 dots and 3 lines. Ma'asya Command Abba. And this fits in like the one who said Pitzchan Shal Nashim Rishus. that Pesach is Pesach, or even Pesach Rishon for women is only Rishus, and therefore you can't bring Pesach Sheni at all. So they didn't allow him to allow his wife to have Pesach Sheni. She's allowed to bring Pesach Rishon for herself without any other groups. It's a chiyuv for women. But Hasheni, but come Pesach Sheni, Tfeila Lachem, she can be secondary in others with another group, but she can't have it on her own. Rabbi Yossi said, she can do Pesach Sheni for herself. Shabbos, and even on Shabbos, and it's a chiyuv for women. Definitely come first Pesach. Rishon ben Lazar, he said, no, even Pesach Rishon, she can be secondary to others. She doesn't do Pesach Sheni at all. Now, what's this as a Rameh that Pesach Sheni for women is Rishus, but not Chayva? It says they will take for themselves each seh lebeis avos, seh labais. So first it says ish seh lebeis avos, right? That's men. Then it says if they want, seh labais for a woman. So Pesach Sheni for women is Rishus. Ma'atav Rabbi Yossi, you got it? What's the reason of Rabbi Yossi that what Pesach Sheni is a chayva for women? Ish selebeis avos, and if that means other family as well, koshkein labais. Definitely for the wife, she's closer than other family. So we want women are chayav Pesach Sheni, proper chiyuv. Ma'atav Rishon ben Elazar. What's the source of Rishon ben Elazar that women are excluded from Pesach Sheni? It says someone who was rebellious and didn't bring Pesach Sheni, he will have a sin. Cheta yisa ishahu. Ish v'la isha. It sounds like a man, not a woman. From here we learn women are excluded from Pesach Sheni. Ma makaimin Rabbanon. What did the other Tanaim do with this pasuk? Ish prat lekatan, to exclude a child. The child is not included in Pesach Sheni, but women are not excluded. Amar Rav Yaina. Rav Yaina said, even you're going to tell me that Yosef Cohen, they said, look, don't bring Pesach Sheni for your wife. Even if you hold Pesach Rishon is a chiyuv and Pesach Sheni is rishus, even Rav Meir allows women to bring Pesach Sheni with others, but Shani Yosef Cohen was different. Sha'adavam Musuyim, he was very important. And we're worried, people will think if he did it, it must be an obligation. Yeah, that women are chayav to bring Pesach Sheni. That wasn't right. So to stop that, they forbade Yosef HaKohen bringing a korban for his wife. Okay, to be continued, I say, yeah.